The Friend of Temple ISD Wildcat Award allows the district to formally recognize high-level partners for their contributions. Bert Pope has been a longtime friend and supporter of Temple ISD. Bert grew up in Temple and graduated from THS in 1957. After graduating from Texas Tech University, Bert and his wife Marcia returned to Temple to work and raise 3 boys who also graduated from Temple High School. Marcia served Temple ISD for many years as a teacher, campus, and district administrator, and Bert established his business and career in the construction industry. Bert has been a consistent supporter in all things Temple ISD for many years. Through the 2011 and 2015 bond projects, Bert assisted the administration with quality control oversight. He attended numerous construction meetings, inspected the workmanship of subcontractors, examined value engineering options, and provided vital feedback and construction advice to the district. Bert's institutional knowledge of Temple has been invaluable to the district. People who know him well describe Bert as smart, dedicated, resourceful, honest, warm, humorous, and true blue. So Bert, for all of these reasons and so many, many more, it is our privilege to recognize you with the Friend of Temple ISD Wildcat Award.
I can't think of anybody more worthy of this award, Bert. You have helped us over the years with all of our projects, construction projects, making sure everything is done right, helping our expertise, making sure that we're getting the best bang for the buck. But not only that, but you've been a Wildcat supporter of your family. Longtime Wildcats, just visiting with your wife Marcia earlier about your sons, how basically we were in high school together all the way through. Y'all have given so much to the district through your service many years and your service too. Just want to say thank you for everything you've done, and this is a well-deserved award.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Would you like to recognize Marcia?
I did a little review, and I'm the one of 13 in my family, over 3 generations, who have been educated in Temple schools. And 1957, when I graduated, which sounds like a long time, middle of last century, it is a long time. But my dad, in fact, looking at some of the memorabilia and the display cases, and there's the picture of the 1933 Temple Wildcats, and my dad's in that photo. And so that was kind of neat to see. But anyway, I have always been a big Temple fan, and I have kind of a walking fact book about a number of the things that if people ask from time to time. The biggest question I always got was, when are y'all going to build a second high school? And then you had to go through that explaining to them. No, my friends around the state, and then you explain to them how small the district is. But anyway, it's been a good time, and I certainly enjoyed it. Got a good education. Our boys did as well. They've all done well in their careers, and I just was glad to be back here and get to spend this time. Marcia's actually, she was a Graham steer growing up. She was from Graham, Texas, but she got here as quick as she could. We came back here in '62, and she was with the district for 27 or 8 years. So, but thank you. It's an honor to be honored by your hometown and your home school district, and I certainly feel that way.
Congratulations, Bert.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
And that was actually created by our students in the Career Tech program.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, my dad also served on the school board.
Yes, he did.
Early 50s, so yeah.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything.
Go Wildcats.
Yes.
He's enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And y'all are welcome to stay, but you're also welcome to go. So just, yes, either way.
Marcia says we're going to stay.
Well, then you're staying. I'm sorry. Never mind. I wouldn't have said
The
anything.
decision is made. Our next item is recognition of Temple Highlighters' participation in the Charles Mingus Festival.
So this is really exciting. Temple High School Jazz Ensemble, the Temple Highlighters, was one of 6 school bands in the country selected to perform in the big band category of the National 2022 Charles Mingus Virtual Festival. The Highlighters performance was broadcast live on was broadcast online on Saturday, February 19th. And you guys, truly, we like to recognize anyone that has an opportunity to reach a state recognition level. But for us to be able to recognize you guys with a national recognition is truly exciting. So I know not everyone is here, but I do want to go ahead and read names so that we can acknowledge you individually and your cohorts. We have Alexandra Abel, Gray Baker, Dylan Coffin, Sebastian Diaz Campos, Brashawn Dixon, Mikhail Edwards, Henry Eminger, Jacob Enriquez, Abby Hannon, Luke Herman, Parker Madsen, Aaron McCarty, Amber Morris, Blake Morris, Colton Rankin, and Nazir White. And of course, your director, Marcus Duran. So congratulations, you guys, truly amazing.
We are very, very proud of this program. I want to thank the students for sharing your talents, but not just sharing your talents with the district, the way you represent the district abroad. We really appreciate each of you. And thank you, Mr. Talented over there, Mr. Durrani. He's fantastic. We appreciate you in this program. Thank you so much.
So truly incredible. So you guys kind of stay put, and let's have board members, will y'all kind of come forward and like find a window in between somebody's head? Yeah. Ms. Suarez and Ms. Myers, that's not gonna work. Yeah, so actually, I need for them to come forward, yes, and y'all can be their window. So you step back, Ms. Myers come forward, yes, there we go. There we go. There we go. That's it. All right.
Well done.
Truly outstanding. Great job, guys.
I also want to thank the parents that are here of these talented students, because I know it's a team sport and team effort. So thank you so much for being here.
I know. We get to recognize y'all a ton. Y'all are awesome.
I'm going to do Christine. I get to recognize Christine. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
As it, oh,
Our next item is recognition for earning 3 Gold Star Awards from the Temple School Public Relations Association, TSPRA Communications.
So I am so excited to recognize our very own Christine Parks and her amazing accomplishments with her team last year. So the Texas Schools Public Relations Association presents their annual Star Awards at the organization's conference each year in February. These awards provide recognition for the outstanding communication efforts of their members across the state. Districts can submit entries used during the previous school year to be judged by a panel of PR experts and can be awarded a bronze, silver, or gold star. A gold star is given to an entry that not only achieves its purpose with noticeable creativity, craft, and skill, but in the opinion of the judges does so in an exceptional way. Temple ISD submitted 3 projects for judging for the 2021 school year. That was the 2020 annual report that Ms. Parks created, the Temple ISD Healthy Habits poster that we all so proudly displayed last year, and the Black History Month social media celebration. All 3 submissions received a gold star. Yay! In addition, the 2020 annual report earned the Best of Category Award for the division. And I think that it's very exciting that Christine was recognized for the exceptional things that she did, because we know how exceptional she is. So congratulations, Communications.
The official gold medal.
Yay!
It's fun to be on this side. I want to be on that side.
I like doing your job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
In 2018, I know when I was hired, one of the charges that was given to me was we have to be able to tell our story. And that was something that folks in the community told me. It wasn't just from the board. It was folks outside the board. And I heard it over and over and over. But little did I know after, hiring and building a department that we would be not just telling the story, but recognized for those efforts at the state level. So she is the architect behind that. In addition to that, she has to deal with me just like they do, and she does a great job. They're all shaking their head, yeah, that's absolutely right. But she has done a great job of telling all of our stories, stories of the students and the staff in the school district. And so we are grateful, grateful for what you've done. Thank you.
Just want to echo what Dr. Ott said. It's amazing where the communications department has come in the last 4 years. And this is proof right here. But not only proof, but in the community, we hear it every day. The level of communication, professionalism of that. So Christine, thank you very much for everything you do and your department does too.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. And I do have a great department.
Do you want to,
And they're,
yeah.
yes, and they are incredible. And I told them next year, no pressure. It's all on you guys to be up here as we move forward. So again, and it's a team effort. And I thank you, the board and Dr. Ott, for your support as we've gone through transitions with the department and grown the department. Your support has allowed us to get to this
Would
point.
you want to get everybody up here for a picture if somebody else could take the picture?
They would prefer not to
Okay,
be in
behind
the
the scenes?
picture, so I will make
All right.
them next year, but I
Okay.
don't have to this
Okay,
year.
all
Yes,
right.
so, yeah, I know Lisa even, yeah, next year I won't give them a choice, but this year they can. That's true too.
Okay. Yeah, here's that grab. Item 5 is executive hires, and we don't have any, no business, okay? Item 6, the board president's report. A, consideration for approval of resolution to nominate Dr. Bobby Ott as the Texas Association of School Board Superintendent of the Year. Members, you've had this in your board book. You have a hard copy in front of you. We're going to submit Dr. Ott as a school board superintendent of the year to Region 12. Application is due in April. Christine knows the date.
In April.
In April, and so, and
It will be submitted well before then.
it will be set, you're right. And one of the requirements is a resolution by the board approving that. So this is what you have tonight. Are there any questions? It does require approval.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. Gaines,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Suarez. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Item B is future items discussion. Any items we wish to bring up in the future? Okay. Item C is important dates, and Dr. Ott.
Okay, if you can look at your list of dates this week, we have the TEF Academic Recognition Celebration. I'd like to encourage you to attend that event. I think we recognize our top 20% students, if I'm not mistaken, at that event. It's at 6:30 at Vista Community Church. We do have our Rejuvenate Spring Retreat, and Amy is in the back there. She coordinates that. And I believe is that Friday morning? Is that right? I need to remember when that is, right? I'm kicking it off, I think. Is that right? Okay. We have a school board retreat March 24th, and that retreat, I believe, is a budget workshop by Callan. And also, we are looking at touring Edwards Academy and the Technology Center. That was something the board had requested at our last meeting, so we'll do that after Callan's presentation and Q&A. And then we have our school board policy committee the 30th, and then facilities 31st. Another retreat April 7th. That retreat is the required ISO training that the board has to have every 2 years. In Region 12, we'll be putting that on, and then we have our next board meeting April 11th. And don't forget, I skipped it, but we have spring break next week too, so. Yeah. And then, yeah, of course. And then we have an addendum or another attachment that has all the fine arts performances from today to April 11th, and that's the second sheet. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ott. Item
Oh,
seven.
can I make
Oh,
one
no,
more
go ahead.
comment? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Because it's a kind of a crowning achievement. If you have a chance, and I hope I don't jinx anything, but if you have a chance to show up Friday, we have a couple different things going on. Steve, I'm going to look at you because I may be getting a few of them mixed up, but we have a home softball game, is that correct? Against Harker Heights, is that correct? Okay. But we also have a home soccer game, boys game, and there is a chance that our head coach will have 200 wins either before or after that game, and that is a crowning achievement. If it happens, I'll let all of you know, and if you do show up to that, I think it'd be great to support him
be great.
in that as
Yeah.
well. So that's it.
Okay. All right, thank you. Item 7 is consent items. We have items A through D3. What is the pleasure of the board to hear these items?
I make a motion that we approve all the items 7A through D3 altogether.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Myers. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion passes. Thank you. 8, item 8, action items. A, under Human Resources, consideration for approval of the 2022-2023 Assistant Superintendent's contracts. Done.
Mr. Posey and Board of Trustees, I bring to you today the contracts for the assistant superintendents, and they are listed in your board book. And I wanted to make you aware that we've completely aligned those contracts so that they're on the same cycle each year, which is a 2-year contract. And so a standard 2-year extension. And so that does require your approval because it is an executive position.
Everybody's on the same cycle?
Yes.
Yes, now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Members, do you have any questions? Motion by Ms. Suarez,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Myers. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
You guys are good. Thank you so much.
And I would like to thank the leadership team. They are fantastic. They are experts in their respective fields, and they are so committed to the school district. And I couldn't be happier to have this team for another year or two,
Yeah.
hopefully longer. So thank you.
Very good. Item B, under curriculum instruction, is consideration for approval of PE adoption for grades K-5 through 6-8, and that's Dr. Adams and Ms. Rogers. Okay. Steve Prentice. Okay.
Mr. Posey and Board of Trustees, I'm here tonight to make a recommendation for textbook adoption for PE materials. The committee consisted of Amy Fry Brown from Ray Allen, Susan Phelps from Thornton, Jenna Prentice from Cater, Ann Anderson from Travis, and Hugh Bert from Technology. We spent the last couple months reviewing the different curriculums that were out there for PE this time, and this is the first time in 20 years that there's been PE materials to be available for adoption. So after doing the reviews, and their recommendation is that we adopt for PE materials K-5 to use the Quaver materials, and then for PE 6 through 8 would use Goodhart Wilcox Company's materials. These all are online now, so it's been a good process, and our PE teachers are excited about the opportunity to have some new materials to use to supplement what they've been doing.
Very good. Any questions? This does require adoption.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. Gaines. Second. Seconded by Ms. Suarez. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
See.
I just
C.
want to say thank you
Oh,
to
yeah.
Mr. Prentice and Ms. Rogers, because that's outside of Mr. Prentice's usual
Yeah.
things that he does, but he did a great job leading the efforts with the PE teachers, so we appreciate him.
I don't think there's a such thing as something being outside
Sorry.
of things that he does.
I will say that everybody wants you to be on their step challenge.
Yeah.
So you can win the prize. Appreciate it.
I can imagine that. Item C, Finance Facilities. 1, consideration for approval of certification of unopposed candidates for District 1 and 6. Mr. Boyd.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Posey. I bring to you tonight the certification of unopposed candidates. And as the authority responsible for having the official ballot prepared, I hereby certify that the following candidates, Ms. Virginia Suarez in District 1 and Ms. Shannon Gowan in District 6, are both unopposed for election of office for the election scheduled for May the 7th.
Thank you. Is there any questions? Motion needs to be adopted.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. Gaines,
Second?
seconded by Mrs. Myers. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. It passes. Thank you. Item 2 is consideration for approval of order of cancellation for trustee election for District 1 and 6.
Thank you, Mr. Posey. The next step in this process, now that both candidates have been certified as unopposed, they are hereby considered elected. So therefore, we bring to you an order for cancellation for your consideration, where we would cancel the trustee portion of the election on May the 7th.
This also requires approval.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. Gaines,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Suarez. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Item E is board committee reports. Facilities Committee update. The meeting was held February 24th, 2022. Mr. Gaines.
Thank you, Mr. Posey. Facility meeting was called to order at 4:01 p.m. at Meredith Dunbar Early Childhood Academy. That was Thursday, February 24th. Item A was consideration for approval of track and turf replacement. The administration presented several pricing options from Paragon Sports for track and turf replacement at the Wildcat Stadium. The administration has already identified funding sources for the majority of the upgrades, but will look for additional funding to potentially address other options. A motion and second was made to approve and not to exceed cost of the work at the time that supplies to be ordered. The motion was unanimously approved. Item B, consideration for approval of resolution to accept the donated property at 903 South 34th Street in Temple, Texas. Members of the Zeta Phi Beta sorority recently approved a resolution to donate property located across the street from Meredith Dunbar to the district. A motion and second was made to accept the donation property through resolution. The motion was unanimously approved. Facilities update. The administration presented an update on the design process for the new elementary campus in West Temple. Item D, tour of Meredith Dunbar Gym. Committee members took a tour of Meredith Dunbar Gym and were able to see recent improvements to the gym, including the completed replacement of the floor, fire suppression system, installation, restrooms, and hallway renovations and ADA upgrades. The meeting was adjourned at 5:32 p.m. Our next meeting will be held on March 31st here at the CA at 4 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Posey.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gaines. The Policy Committee update. The meeting was held on February 23rd, 2022. The meeting was called to order at 4 p.m. Mr. Boyd presented a Friends of Temple ISD nomination. The committee agreed to place this recognition on the March board meeting agenda. Several policies are being reviewed and will be discussed at tonight's board meeting. The meeting was adjourned at 4:30. The next committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, March 30th at 4 p.m. Policy review. Item 1, DEB legal, compensation and benefits, fringe benefits. DEC legal, compensation and benefits, leave and absences. DEC local, compensation and benefits, leave and absences. DEA legal, leave and absences, family and medical leave. DECB legal, leaves and absences, military leave. DEE legal, compensation and benefits, expense reimbursement. DEE local, compensation and benefits, expense reimbursements. Mr. Hockenberg.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. We have 7 policies we'll review tonight, and they are all about personnel, with talking about compensation and benefits. The first one is DEB legal. This one references if we had a district police force, which we don't, but if we did, upon the death of an officer, then that officer gets his weapon, his badge, and we would provide health insurance for the surviving spouse and dependents. So that's those districts that do have a police force, this is part of what they're required to do. DEC legal, this starts talking about leave, and when you talk about leave, there's really 2 main pieces that you hear about is state leave and local leave. This one talks about the state leave, and the state, it gives 5 days per year of state personal leave, and for that leave, there's no limit on accumulation. You can, if you don't use it, it carries over to the next year, and it just continues that way. And there's no restriction on transfer to other districts. So employees that come to our district, their state days come with them and are part of our system then. You might, and there's no, for these new state leave, there's no restriction on the purpose of it. You can, there's not any requirement for what they have to be taken for. If you go back to pre-1995, there's still some of us that have what you might hear called old sick days. That's state days that were done before 1995, and those do have some restrictions that they have to be for illness or family emergency or military leave. So there are some restrictions with that. After 1995, state leave, now there aren't any restrictions on how you can use those. Temporary disability, if at any time an educator's condition interferes with their performance to perform their regular duties, they can go on temporary disability. Local policy says that it can be a maximum of 180 calendar days, and that is not paid leave. And one point, according to the Pregnancy Discrimination Act of 1978, and then with the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, they say that according to this, for temporary leave, pregnancy is considered a temporary disability. So that's when that happens, it falls under that leave. There's also assault leave, so that if an employee is injured during the performance of their regular duties, we give them enough time to recuperate for those duties, and it can extend more than 2 years. 2 years is the maximum. A couple other common leaves are religious observances, jury duty, those are also common. Our local policy part of this, DEC local, it requires, you might think of it as a doctor's note. The policy, it calls it medical certification, and we can request medical certification if an employee misses 3 or more days consecutive of work. If there's a questionable pattern of absences, such as if they're absent every Friday, and then they can require a doctor's note, and if they request FMLA, we can also require a note. Leave is discretionary, so that, or leave that is discretionary, the supervisor can look at how long is it going to be, what's the impact on operations, what's the availability of substitutes, so they don't have to approve it. They can actually say that leave is not approved because we can't, the way our operations handle, we need you at work, and that's for discretionary ones. Now, the local, that other half of it, state and local, state or local leave, we give 5 local days per school year. And again, these can accumulate without limit. The difference here is that when somebody comes to our district, their local days don't come with them. They stay with the district, with where they're coming from. So those don't transfer. The state do, the local don't. We also have a catastrophic leave bank that employees can participate in, so that if for some extenuating circumstance that they use up all their local days and all their state days and they're still out for whatever reason, if they belong to the bank, then employees have given days to that and they can participate and still get paid for those days using those days with the leave bank. We also have, if somebody retires, they're eligible to be paid for their days. There are some requirements. They have to retire from TRS, they have to give a written notice, and they have to have been with the district 10 or more continuous years, and then up to 90 days, half, it has to be in conjunction, half state, half local days, then they can get paid upon retirement for those unused days. We also have, as an organization, what's called neutral absence control, and that means that if an employee uses up all their days and continues to miss, we can seek termination. The next policy, DECA legal, is the bulk of tonight's. It's over 19 pages, and I'm going to skip that for just a moment. We have DECB legal, and this talks about the military leave, federal military leave, so that if somebody is in service and gets called up, then they have the military leave, and it can't exceed 5 years, and when they come back, then they can reapply for their position at a similar rate and similar position, similar benefits. We do have some protection in that we don't have to reemploy them if the employment is impossible, if things have changed so much in there that position isn't there, or if it puts an undue hardship on the district, or if that position that they left was temporary, such as it was grant funded and the grant ran out, and then when they came back, that position wouldn't be available. Other type of military leave, if it's for the state military, if they get called up, the leave can go for 15 work days, and if they get called up for a disaster, that they can miss up to 7 for their leave. DEE legal, it does reference in here the classroom supply reimbursement. And how it is worded in here, it says, if funds are specifically appropriated or TEA identifies allowable funds. I look back and it was in 2004 is when they created it and the state funded, and you might remember hearing the teachers were able to get $500 back for their classroom supplies. That's where this is listed, but it was only funded for that one biennium. So while it's still in here, still says if it's funded, it's still part of policy, but it hasn't been funded since 2006. And then lastly, DEE local talks about reimbursement and that employees can be reimbursed. They just need to have prior approval, and they need to make sure they have proper documentation for that. Going back to DECA legal, that is our Family and Medical Leave Act, and it's and our Resident Family and Medical Leave Act, FMLA specialist is Ms. Hayes, and so we have invited her to be a guest speaker for us to go over FMLA.
Hello and good evening. I am going to summarize the 19-pager. So DEC legal leaves and absences for family medical leave. School districts are a covered employer. That covers all public elementary and secondary schools. For an employee to qualify, they must be employed for at least 12 months prior to the request for the date of leave and have worked 1,250 hours preceding the commencement of the leave. Reasons for leave would be birth of son or daughter, adoption, foster care, to take care of a spouse, child with a serious health condition, if the employee has a serious health condition, or they are a military caregiver for leave. The amount of leave is up to 12 work weeks in a 12-month period. That does exclude weekends or any days the employee would not be regularly required to be at work. So for example, that would not calculate over to a teacher being out during the summer. That would not count as FML leave. Pregnancy or birth, if both parents work for the district, it's an accumulated 12 weeks. So it's not each get 12 weeks, so it would be combined if they both work as an employee. FML leave is unpaid. In our policy, we do require them to use their paid time off concurrently, so they run at the same time. Maintenance of health benefits, the district does oh, no, that's okay. I was like, it was my time up already? Man, I didn't talk fast enough. The district will continue to offer health insurance that's required if you are covered under FML. The employee is, however, required to continue paying for it, so we do really good in our department keeping up with that. And then any pay increases or pay changes or one-time pays or any of those types of things are still intact while the employee is out on FML. Returning to work, the employee must be reinstated to the same or equivalent position with the same or equivalent benefits. There is an exception, and I'll just kind of read it because the way they have it worded in the document, I think is best. A district could deny restoration to a key employee if such denial is necessary to prevent substantial or grievous economic injury to the operations of the district. So one of your key positions, different situations may have to occur depending on who that is. So, and then medical certification is required. We have posters posted all over the district and all of the water cooler areas. Employees are required as part of the request process to provide a qualifying reason for the event. So they can't just say, hey, I need 12 weeks of leave. They do have to provide documentation as to why it's medically necessary. And then they do have to provide documentation from their physician, and those are Department of Labor processes. Incomplete or insufficient information could result in denial of the time. Authentication and clarification. So once we receive the medical certification, I can't go back and ask for additional information. I can ask for clarification with a medical provider if necessary, and the Department of Labor does not allow me to ask for recertification of that information no more often than every 30 days. So I can't bug them for a doctor's note each time they're out, but I can, if it's related to an absence, I can ask for a recertification. And at times we've had to do that just to make sure we're keeping things safe for the employee. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Any questions?
On his?
Yeah. Anybody have any questions? Well, Eric and Amy, thank you very much. I appreciate y'all coming before us tonight. With no other business being before us, we are now adjourned. Thank you very much.